Hello, dear students and friends. Welcome to Billion Hope. This is your mentor Sandy bringing you AI for real impact. Today, we are in session 2 of the 7th session Masterclass playlist AI for everyone. As I have promised, every Sunday morning 8 a.m., we are going to release the next session. Today, we'll take the big picture of AI, understanding the entire AI ecosystem, and I'll be sharing with you my entire collection I have in my library. We are going to talk about everything you need to know as a beginner about AI so that over the next few months and years, you can build your own competencies, books, blogs, channels, heroes, ideas, papers, everything that I have learned over the years. I will be sharing with you at a micro level. So enjoy the session. Go ahead, make your notes, share this with everyone. Excited? Shall we begin? So, first, please like the session. That's very, very important. And do leave a beautiful comment. Whatever you learned from today's session, great to know from you. And thank you so much for all the support. Billion Homes is for beginners, non technical professionals, and strategists. I hope we end up doing a good job with your support. Did you subscribe to a free newsletter AI for everyone or not? If not, please do that right now. Every week, we send two beautiful newsletters. Please make sure that you subscribe using the link given in the comment. Every newsletter is a collection of some of the most important things that have happened in AI. So get it right in your mailbox. My website Insights is a wonderful collection of hundreds of current affairs posts on AI. This is your one stop for knowledge in AI. Go ahead and make the most of it. So we are on for the second session, the big picture, understanding the AI ecosystem. For any new learner in AI, a very big problem usually is where to start, what to do, what not to do. Today's class will give you the complete picture of the landscape of AI. As I said, the best books, the best blogs, the best channels, the best papers in AI that you might want to refer to, even if you're a non technical person, scanning through the papers does no harm. This will be our second class. The third will be foundational concepts of ML. Fifth will be generative AI basics. Fourth would be that. Fifth would be Work 2.0, how AI is reshaping professional life. And sixth and seventh would be really high level sessions taken together. My AI for Everyone playlist is absolute gold for any beginner in AI. That was the first one where we did a complete beginner's guide where we saw the foundational concepts in AI. Now we move on to the micro level learning resources. This is our agenda for today. Take a good look at it. So, first, I will be taking up the foundations and structures. I will explain AI from a bird's eye view, the AI pyramid, the various ecosystems, the various pillars. So, even if you know nothing about AI, although you know a lot, if you have been following my channel, now you know a lot, and we'll keep on enriching this channel. Your suggestions, your feedback, your criticisms, absolutely valuable. Keep them flowing. Foundations and structure will be followed by core technologies and evolution. And then we will come to resources and inspiration, blogs, books, channels, ideas, papers, heroes. So stay tuned, enjoy every moment of the session, and emerge as an absolutely enlightened learner. Remember, we are for beginners, non tech professionals, and strategists, although even technical professionals have reported they have truly enjoyed. So I have started with the first part, foundations and structures, where I'll quickly take a look at the schools of AI, the AI taxonomy, the AI pyramid, and the fundamental definitions. Very interesting and absolutely fundamental things. First, we'll take a look at the AI schools, then the AI taxonomy, then the AI pyramid, and finally, some very important definitions, basis which the entire field of AI is moving forward rapidly. So, as we know, it's been roughly 7 to 8 decades that this whole AI, machine learning, deep learning thing came into being and has now matured to a significant extent. The next 5 years promise to be transformational, and the next 10 and 20 would absolutely redefine everything. And we hope it'll be for the good. So, which were the major schools of AI, as we call it? Let's take a very quick look. See, when AI actually started, it was classical AI. Classical AI or symbolic AI or good old fashioned AI is where things started. They assumed that they could code reality into computers, that they could actually make machines learn, the 3D world around by creating world models by coding, by putting symbols properly. Because they had the confidence, the pioneers of AI, that after all, how difficult would it be to really code this 3D world that we humans inhabit inside the machine? So they actually tried it. But by 1980, this started falling apart because the world is just too difficult, too complex for any coder to code into a machine to understand. So that was the rise of connectionist AI, which is neural network. So now we do not code reality. We do not code symbols into the computer. We create large collections of artificial neurons. I covered this in the first part of this first lecture of this series, the masterclass playlist of AI for everyone. So please do watch it fully. You'll have all the answers there. And more will come in the third and fourth. The foundational ideas in machine learning and neural network, I'll cover from a beginner's perspective. And this lecture is also for beginners. So be absolutely confident that yes, you're learning. So connectionist AI took a break from the symbolic AI, classical AI, and we started working on neural networks. And actually, we did very well. But then again, there were limitations. And by the time 2020 and 2021 came about, and then ChatGPT November 22, it was very clear that a hybrid approach is the way forward. So this is where we are today. Then you also have evolutionary AI, statistical AI, embodied AI, which are all parallel branches overlapping with this. Moving on, when I come to the taxonomy, this will become clear. So is this first thing clear? Are the terms clear? Excellent. We now come to the AI taxonomy. I had shown a glimpse of this in the previous lecture, but today we see this at length. See, the field of AI is exactly like medical science. If anyone says that I am a medical science expert, I am an expert in entire medical science, that obviously is not a very good thing to say because no one can be an expert in entire medical science. It is so vast. Similarly, no one can be an expert in AI because it's just so vast. So, if this is AI, where do we begin? This is where we begin. AI naturally can be taken as an offshoot of computer science. And within AI, you have symbolic AI. This is exactly what I discussed with you here, the classical AI. And then the machine learning and the neural network things. And the hybrid is that which connect these two. This is what we saw here. Then perception and action, natural language processing, and robotic. So at the absolute top level, how many branches do you see? We very clearly see 6 branches within AI, which is part of computer science, broadly speaking. Which are those 6 branches? Symbolic AI, machine learning, neurosymbolic AI, hybrid, natural language processing, perception and action, robotics. Got it? And within these 6, you can have more things inside, which is actually the goal we have in this part of the lecture. We are on the first part, foundations and structure. Enjoying the class? Make sure you like it. Make sure you share it with your friends. Make sure you subscribe to the newsletter. Very, very important. Now, this is the full-fleshed AI taxonomy. Within symbolic AI, you have rules-based expert system, knowledge, logic, representation, theorem proving, planning, etc. Within machine learning, as we just saw here, you have the neural networks. You have within neural networks the nested doll concept that I shared in the previous session. I hope you remember deep learning. Within deep learning, you have various kinds of deep learning models, convolutional neural nets, recurrent neural networks, transformer architectures, which is what all the chatbots are based on, which is what the revolution was, the transformer architecture. But there is a lot in machine learning which is actually not neural network. Tree and ensembles, SVMs and linears, probabilistic and Bayesian models, graphical models, causal ML models, many, many more. These have real world application. If you recall in the previous session, I had said, even if a large company like OpenAI fails tomorrow, there are talks of an AI bubble, and people say that maybe some companies will collapse. Maybe they will, I don't know. Even if a large company collapses, the machine learning models won't collapse. That is humanity's common heritage now. It is a legacy. It is humanity's common knowledge and asset. It will always be there. So that's machine learning. Then we saw neuro symbolic AI or hybrid, something that connect these two. And most people say that if we are ever going to have AGI, artificial general intelligence, or ASI, artificial super intelligence. Can you please tell me the difference between these two in the comments? It would be lovely hearing from you. Keep the comment section happening. Keep sharing your views. Keep suggesting what more sessions you want in the future. Keep checking all the other playlists also. Every playlist has a certain nature and character which we are trying to develop. This was just the beginning. So much more is coming up. If we have to have AGI and ASI in the future, then we absolutely need a hybrid model. This is what the going dictum seems to be. Then we have natural language processing. I'll show you the main books for this also. Then we have perception and action and robotics. Now, within perception and action, you have speech recognition, you have computer vision, and all of them have overlapping areas. As you can see, these regions are overlapping. Then there are systems and MLOps, that is machine learning operations, safety and alignment. And you have physics, biology, maths, logic, neuroscience, psychology, philosophy, linguistics, everything contributing to enriching this field of AI. You will be surprised to hear that some of the most well known names in AI also have had a background in psychology, because that's the whole point. And in fact, people who haven't had the background in humanities like psychology or some others, philosophy and all, or linguistics, they often falter at AI. A purely mathematical approach in AI actually doesn't work. Although I have been saying that AI is not magic, it is mathematics, but it is not just mathematics too. It is mathematics plus so much of domain knowledge from psychology, linguistics, philosophy, and so on. The deeper you go into AI, the more you realize the beauty of it. Today, when I share the pictures of the book, which I have a section of my library, which I actually used to create this, you will see how wonderfully everything comes together. So, is this clear? So, now I think it is high time that you actually draw this in your notebook and remember this, because this is a very, very useful chart. And generative AI is just this. That's it. This is generative AI. So, AI actually is a very, very vast field. Now, we come to the AI pyramid. This is what I use in my consulting assignments when I help CXOs and people who are in policy making positions and all. AI pyramid is something I built to explain in a simple way how does AI literacy, AI skilling, and AI strategy evolve for any learner. Actually, it happens in 5 steps, which is what I call the AI pyramid. So, AI pyramid is my conceptualization and visualization of how AI skills can be learned. You can choose to be at a particular level in this pyramid 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it's your choice. Or you can actually progress and you can try to master most of it. From 1, you can go to 2, and from 2 to 3, or depending on your individual background, educational background, your likings, your aptitudes, you can then decide which one you would want to pursue. So, what exactly is the AI pyramid? Let's see. Step 1 or layer 1 is the broad spectrum AI. In the broad spectrum AI, actually, I am covering that in this playlist. You must have already got a feeling of that. The nature of AI, the history of AI, the various concepts involved in AI, the theories of AI, the foundations, ecosystems, and how everything comes together at the topmost level. You see, today, managers and business persons and executives and fresh MBAs or some experience, MBAs with some experience and all, entrepreneurs, they are facing this huge deluge of AI related content, a flood. Frameworks like these, which I have developed, AI Pyramid on, actually help you segment the knowledge meaningfully. This is why frameworks are very useful in a knowledge journey. So, in this knowledge journey, broad spectrum AI usually is what most people should learn first. Then come the pillars of AI. AI technology landscape. I will zoom in and show in a moment. AI technology landscape. What are the various 7 parts of it? This is something I will be taking up very soon in this AI technology landscape. So I'm just introducing it here. Got it? Then at the third layer or level of this AI pyramid, you have the AI technicals, where you need technical expertise, data, statistics, optimization, machine learning, algos, AI models, LLM, diffusion model, etc. Many of us may never go there. We may not need to go there. But many of us who are technical professionals may actually be only there with no idea about one or even two, which is actually a bad idea, or even five, because that can affect your career progression. I hope you see where I'm coming from. Both AI use cases, where all is AI actually used. It's very funny to see many people who are technically very good actually do not know where all the models they are building are used in the real world. What are the edge cases? What are the various accomplishments and what are the adjacencies? But you can learn that with the passage of time. And finally, at the fifth level, you have AI strategy. This is like the topmost level where you decide for your entire company, business, country, state, province, or county what should be the right AI policy for you. My advice here always is do not get into policy making without having some understanding of, without having some handle on the technicals of AI. Because it's like shooting in the dark otherwise. You can always give a good presentation on it, but do you really even understand it? The policies will end up being suboptimal. So let's now zoom in and spend a moment understanding what these are, because this can actually be a career path. Enjoying the session? Like the video? Please subscribe to the channel. Make sure you subscribe to the free AI newsletter as well. It's given in the comment thread. And check out all my courses on the Academy site. Wonderful courses for beginners as well as professionals. So let's zoom in. Let's zoom in. This is broad spectrum AI: nature, history, concept theories, foundations, ecosystem. This actually looks pretty simple, but when you start learning it, you realize that it's an ocean and it's actually very interesting to swim in that ocean, but it takes some commitment and some time. And this is the literacy level. This is where a basic literacy begins. So, yes, some people may lack AI literacy, but they may know how to code an LLM. Absolutely. At least this chart indicates that. Yes, that is true. Pillars of AI. So, here you do the technology landscaping, the seven pillars of AI, which I will be very shortly, in just a couple of minutes, sharing that beautiful round circular chart with you. How do the seven pillars actually work? Now, those of you who are completely from a non technical background might be wondering, do I really need to know this? My very blunt and very straight answer to that is, if you think you wish to extract maximum value from an AI first world, which the next 5 years are going to be, then you need to know. If you think you know nothing today, well, this is where you begin. Make a notebook, the Billion Hopes notebook, and keep noting everything. Slowly, you will build confidence. It takes time. Even I took my own sweet time. No one knows it from day one. Everyone needs some time. So you too do that. So now we are slowly from literally moving into the skilling part. So the third level here would be AI technicals. This is where you do the proper technical coding part of it. So how much of coding is involved in AI? See, if you're building an ML model, an AI model, it is entirely coding, right? A lot of them are now prefabricated. So you don't have to actually write the code. You have entire components which come together. And if you want to do one more meta and abstract level work, then do vibe coding. So there are entire platforms that actually help you do vibe coding, which is instructing or prompting the LLM in English language or any other language, natural language, and getting an output. So Gemini, for example, you go to the Canvas part of Gemini and it can give you a web app. The problem is once it gives what to do next. So that is where you need to have some software expertise. So yes, you will need some basic software expertise at this level. Otherwise, it's not needed. To use AI, you don't need that. And some maths. But again, mathematics not at a very deep level unless you become a real hardcore developer of ML system. Then, yes, a command over maths is needed. Otherwise, not at all needed. AI use cases, fourth and fifth, are very, very interesting. AI use cases, Google recently issued a document showing 1,000 use cases of generative AI. Absolutely right. Google recently issued a complete document showing how various companies across the world had successfully deployed generative AI in 1,000 different ways. Imagine 1,000 ways. So people are innovative and people are using even broad LLMs to do their very narrow task, which is good, which is very good. And that is the call of the future now. Next 5 years will be that. So there is no running away from it. So that is AI use cases. And when you do AI use cases, today I'll be sharing a beautiful book with you. That section is the best part of this video. So make sure you watch it till the end. AI Snake Oil. And I'll tell you why you should be buying that book. Why Narayan and Kapoor have done a wonderful job explaining what exactly is happening in AI. And then you have AI strategy. This is for the senior most professionals, government officials, politicians, when you make strategy for a group. So this is what AI strategy is. Now, within AI strategy also, the tragedy is that a lot of policymakers in the world actually are not very good at AI per se. I mean, they don't know AI technically. So at times I wonder how exactly are they strategizing? So the answer is, of course, they delegate. They delegate it to AI experts who then do a lot of brainstorming. They create documentation, which get vetted, and then finally some version appears, goes to the politician who thinks about it, maybe posing some counter questions, and then a strategy comes up. Now, there are two things happening in the world today. Understand this clearly. One is that there are AI missions, and the second thing is there is an AI strategy. Ideally, any country which is serious about AI should first formulate a national AI strategy. Very few countries are doing it. They are actually getting into AI missions. So, missions are the executive part of it. But missions without a strategy is running a car full on blind. So it will not reach anywhere, frankly speaking. So countries should first build a strategy and then they should get into the mission part of it. The reverse seems to be happening with many countries because building a strategy actually needs expertise. And that is where many people may lose patience and may decide, let's go on the mission mode first. We'll think about the strategy later. What is the big hurry? We'll see it later. So, are the five layers clear? This is a wonderful picturization or a framework creation of what AI today is. And I built this because I struggled a lot when I actually started learning AI. I purchased many books over 7 or 8 years, actually read those books, made my notes, went through hundreds of technical papers, kept reading blogs, articles, watching YouTube channels, reading the best heroes of AI, building their own software libraries. I kept documenting things. So I was often struck by the fact, what exactly am I doing? And I needed a framework. So this is how this came into being. Got it? So please use it. It's for you. And this is the overall AI taxonomy. Now we come to a wonderful part. This beautiful collection of definitions, which AI experts actually use in a very fundamental way. So, what exactly are these definitions? There's a beautiful book, Life 3.0. I'll be showing you that book today and I'll be recommending that you buy that book. See, reading books is the only deep, long term way of building your abilities. If you do not read books, there is no long term ability being created. There is really no shortcut to that. Irrespective of which step of that AI pyramid you are on, you really need to build your own small mini library. Now, in Life 3.0, the author very painstakingly brought together 26 different ideas. I will be discussing a few of them with you, and you will be really happy to know these are such wonderful things, fundamental things. I find it so funny. People so casually talk about AGI, ASI, digitally downloading your brain into a computer one day. Do we even understand what life is? Do we understand the phases through which life on this planet has really evolved? Without having a basic understanding and agreement on these things, actually everyone is shooting in a different direction and expecting the other person looking in a different direction to understand their perspective. So that's not going to happen. I will take up a few definitions from here. The rest you can, of course, pause and read and debate and keep on commenting and expect others to contribute. Please go ahead and do that. In that beautiful book, Life 3.0, which I'll be showing in a few moments from now, The author actually starts with what is life. Now, that's a good idea actually. Life is a process that can retain its complexity and replicate. Absolutely wonderful. That's a very simple and an absolutely correct definition. So, life is a process that can retain its complexity and replicate. I think all of us will agree with that. There is absolutely no doubt about that. Then, in a very beautiful way, he takes us through life 1.0, 2, and 3.0. And what exactly does he say about that? Life 1.0 or 1.0, life that evolves its hardware and software, biological stage. So we are all life 1.0 because we have evolved, right? Our brains, the software which evolved via natural selection inside the brain, of which we have no clue. What is the software which runs human brain? Science has no clue. So we crack C. elegans worm. We know the exact number of neurons in the brain of that worm, and we don't know what to do with it. We are unable to recreate that worm's brain. We just don't know how it works. So we know the physical part of it, but not the actual software part of it. So we are the hardware and software biological evolved beings. We are life 1.0. Life 2.0, life that evolves its hardware but designs its software, cultural stage. So we are here too. Because over the past 10 to 15,000 years, modern man evolved culture. This is not natural selection, this is cultural evolution. So we have undergone this phase as well. It was outside our bodies, it was in groups of human beings. Then came Life 3.0. The author of that book, titled Life 3.0, says, life that designs its hardware too, in addition to software. This is where we are talking about human beings augmented like robots or robots augmented like humans, Life 3.0. So the author says that maybe we are headed towards it. We are not there yet. Maybe we should never go there, but it seems that our direction is that. So is the difference clear? So life 1.0 is what you and me are. We evolved over millions of years and here we are. Natural selection brought us here. Life 2.0 is what we modern Homo sapiens became over the past 15, 20, 30,000 years. And life 3.0 is what we may become in the future. Are these definitions clear? So, as I said, I'll help you understand the whole AI ecosystem. What are the various layers in it? What are the 7 technology pillars in it? What are the schools of it? What are the basic definitions involved? And the books and the blogs and the channels and the papers. This is how you begin understanding the whole thing. Yes or no? Yes or no? Yes or no? Please confirm. Intelligence. Oh my God. We are doing AI and we still haven't agreed on a definition of intelligence. Oh, that's bad. Ability to accomplish complex goals. That's wonderful. So, intelligence is the ability to accomplish complex goals. So, any agent, human being, a chimpanzee, or a C. elegans worm, or the cetaceans, or the sharks, or you name a species that can accomplish some complex goal as intelligent. I'll be showing you some books today. Intelligence in Non-Human Species on Planet Earth. Wonderful books. Maybe someday you would wish to read them. I'll show those books to you. Recommended list, in fact. And what is artificial intelligence? Anything which is non biological is artificial because we are biological and we have given ourselves the title natural intelligence. So, anything which is not natural, anything which is made by us, not by Mother Nature, is artificial. So, that is AI. This whole revolution of AI is artificial intelligence, which is actually created by humans. So, it is not natural. So, it is artificial. Is that clear? Non biological. And within AI, you can have narrow and general intelligence. Narrow is you have an AI system that can beat the best chess grandmaster, but then it can't make coffee, right? But the chess grandmaster can drive a car and make coffee as well. So she is generally intelligent. But that amazing chess software that beats the grandmaster is narrowly intelligent. Is that clear? And what is general intelligence? Ability to accomplish any goal, including learning itself. Now, remember, I did a lot of research on the topic of intelligence itself. Intelligence actually is the topic of research. You'll be surprised to see the books I'll be sharing with you. There are people who have devoted their entire life researching intelligence. Uh, when we talk about human beings and human intelligence, so this is a slightly deep point, so please enjoy it to the fullest. Our intelligence is embedded in this 3D world. It is not a standalone intelligence. No human being is standalone. By the very definition of our 3D existence, this biological existence, we are born and we exist in a fully immersive environment. It's a 3D environment. We are fully embedded in that environment. The various stimuli entering the body actually stimulate the intelligence being created in the brain every nanosecond. Without an environment, intelligence in humans, biological intelligence, will cease to exist. Intelligence cannot exist in a vacuum. It needs an environment because what will it act upon and what will it be acted upon by? So please remember that intelligence needs a complete environment. If this is clear, then a lot of talk about digitally downloading your brains and all will slowly start becoming clearer to you. In fact, you will be very happy to know that a theory of intelligence actually says that there are four E's in intelligence. Intelligence necessarily has to be embodied, it needs a body because the intelligence keeps getting internal stimuli also. So, first, this is a four E theory of intelligence where the discussion started here. So, I'm taking it to the 4E theory, which is not part of today's discussion, but still I'll take it. The first was embodied. I need a body for my intelligence to exist. Is that clear? Second is that intelligence is embedded in a 3D environment, which is what I've already explained. Third is intelligence is N-active, E-N active. Both act on each other. There is nothing called passivity here. And fourth is intelligence is extended. We can use technology to extend our intelligence. So we are embodied, we are embedded, we are inactive, and we are extended. If these four E's are met, then human intelligence can exist, otherwise not. So that's a whole theory of intelligence. Those of you who are interested might someday want to go deep into it. I'm giving you a lot of points for research. Are you enjoying these points or not? Your love and support for Billion Hopes is expected. Please maintain that. So, my dear students, friends, universal intelligence, ability to acquire general intelligence if you are given data and resources. Here, the beautiful science fiction theories by science fiction writer, author, and thinker of 50s and 60s, Isaac Asimov, come into picture. I'll be making videos on that. The last question and the last answer. Such beautiful and deep stories about the eventual destiny of man. I will make it and I'll share it. You're going to love that and see that in context with whatever I am discussing here with you today. Artificial general intelligence. So, man creates AI, and that AI ends up learning how to do any cognitive task at least as good as any human. So, it can drive me to my office. It can carry my luggage for me. It can make and serve coffee without spilling. It can clean my bed. It can X, Y, Z, blah, blah, blah. Everything that I can. So that is AGI. Is that clear? And super intelligence will be the final level where AGI evolves to the level of self recursively improving intelligence. And that is what people are talking about in terms of the future. What does it hold for mankind? Nobody knows when AGI will arrive. There are multiple theories on it. Some say by 2030, some say by 2040, some say never. We don't know. We'll have to really live through this revolution to understand it. But then, as I said, the revolution is upon us. And so we should happily be a part of it and try to extract the most from it. So these are deeper level, interesting points, which I will leave for you to study. I'm giving you a lot of material. Please go through them, right? So we have completed the first part, foundations and structures. Shall we take a quick relook at it? Okay, let's do that. Let's do that. Let's do that. I hope you're enjoying. I hope you're with me. We first saw the schools of AI, then we saw the whole AI taxonomy, the various parts of AI. Then we saw the AI pyramid, which is something that I built to help people understand how the vast field of AI can actually be summarized in just one diagram. Then we saw some basic definitions of AI. I can understand some of it can be slightly overwhelming. Of course, we are discussing the entire ecosystem, right? So these things are top level. Some of it is abstract also. I totally understand, although I'm trying to deconstruct it as much as I can. So a lot of learning spirit from you will take you a very long way. I'm sharing all my knowledge with you. Now it's up to you how much you make of it or from it. So now we come to core technologies and evolution. This will be slightly technical, not too technical. And then we are coming to this wonderful section where I'll give you everything that people actually clamor for, what to read, how to read. And people end up wasting months chasing the wrong books and the wrong resources. I hope I will cut down that time for you. So let's see that. But first, we will see core technologies and evolution. So, my dear friends and students, how exactly does the AI technology landscape look like today? This is how it looks like. There are exactly seven core pillars of AI as an industry, the way it exists worldwide. So, just a minute on how the AI industry exists worldwide. There are various levels and levers at which the competition is happening. There are the chip makers, various chip makers competing with each other, and some of them are also into building foundational models, so they are competing at the LLM level. Then there are the application makers who use these LLMs, create applications for the mass market. Then there are the data center and infrastructure providers and the energy suppliers. Then there are the governments and the policymakers and the geostrategic competition watchers who actually advise governments what China is doing, what India is doing, what UAE and the Middle East is doing in terms of investing in AI. They're investing heavily, they have a certain vision. And let's see how much of that fructifies over the next decade. What exactly should US be doing? Only private proprietary models or mass adoption as they have tried out in China and a lot of open source models in China. By the way, open source doesn't always mean free. So we'll come to that when we come to that. We'll cross the bridge when we come to it. So these are the various ways the industry actually on a day-to-day basis is evolving. Hugely competitive industry, and that is where the concept of the bubble comes from. But to understand that properly, you need to know these pillars. Foundation models and platforms, LLM native applications, hybrid apps, non-LLM apps and infra, machine learning operations and deployment, security, safety and governance, and AI hardware and compute. So these horrible sounding terms, they are what the whole AI industry stands on. So these seven pillars broadly define the entire AI industry. So let's quickly zoom in and we'll quickly zoom out also. That's my promise to you. And then we will see this. Deep learning, which is actually all the chatbots, you should at least know the three layers of that. And then we will quickly go to the most interesting part of today: books, blogs, channels, ideas, papers, heroes, the names that you must know. So let's zoom in, let's zoom in, let's zoom in. Seven core pillars. The first is the foundation models and platforms. All the core AI models, which are actually powering the generative AI, all the LLM, diffusion models, multimodal model, which can take in text and audio and video and everything. So we have GPT-5 now, Claude, Gemini, Meta Llama, Stability, Hugging Face, open source model, many from China. Then there are from Microsoft as well, and so on. So these are the foundation models and platforms. The most difficult to make, the costliest to train, the costliest to run inference upon, huge energy requirement, and most of them are loss making. OpenAI ChatGPT has been a perennially loss making business. It's not making any money. It's generating revenues, but it has no bottom line. It's all in the red. So ChatGPT has been making losses from day one till date. How long can it sustain, especially in the recent onslaught by Gemini? That remains to be seen. Then the second pillar of this AI thing is LLM native applications. So there are hundreds and hundreds of applications. LLMs are the primary engines, and the LLMs help you do chatting, writing, coding, the various agentic stuff. Third is the hybrid applications. Here you combine LLMs with other AI systems because you have a more complex real world workflow. AI meeting assistants, research co pilots, marketing tools, productivity apps, workflow automation. It's so amazing to see every aspect of our life now has AI in it. And how did it become possible? It became possible because the artificial neural networks, they conquered by dividing. I've given you their basic operating principle. They divide to conquer. So you give them a snapshot of reality. They chop, 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 slice, 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 pixel, 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 atomize, 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 and they find the patterns in it. Now you can't beat that. We don't know how the human mind actually works. We don't know the algorithm behind it. One day we might. I don't know. But this is how LLMs do it. And any software, any system which can actually divide reality to conquer it. By conquering, I mean understanding it. Can actually be embedded in every aspect of our life. This is the answer to the question, how did AI in just 5 years become embedded in everything we do? Because the LLMs behind are working, absolutely treating the universe in a pixelated format and then finding the pattern. Earlier expert systems and symbolic systems just were not designed to do that. This is the whole idea. Then come the non-LLM apps and infrastructure, the tools built on that, all the image, audio, video generators, the text to speech or speech to text tool, OCRs, and so on, ML ops and deployment, the various platforms which actually help you build and deploy in the real world various machine learning algorithms. And it's a whole universe in itself, a very, very profitable and a very flourishing universe. Security, safety, and governance. There are experts in creating guardrails, policy frameworks, ensuring that the system prompts fed into the LLMs and AI systems actually ensure that guardrails are met. So there are people who do this. It's a full-time job, ensuring that AI policy is in sync with the national policy and the social good. And finally, AI hardware and compute. This is where NVIDIA comes in. This is where the graphical processing units, GPUs, or the TPUs, tensor processing units, and they all come in. So Google has now it has sounded a scare literally to the others because the way Gemini came up in November 2025 and the way Google TPUs are now being made available to others, and the way others have also shown interest in that. So that's a direct competition for GPUs of NVIDIA, which has captured the market beautifully by sheer ingenuity in the past 13 years. So Google is now in the same field, and underestimating Google would be at your own peril. So these are the 7 pillars of the technology landscape. Is this clear? Now you don't need to really memorize them, but you need to have, if you're a CXO, professional, or anyone truly wanting to be on your feet in this AI world, this is something I can definitely tell you. Over the next 10 years, basic literacy in AI, beyond just using LLMs and chatbots, will become a life skill. So you can't run away from it. This is why I always tell my friends, students, learners, dive into it. Don't be scared. Make your notes, write down things, even if they sound very new to you initially. You do it once, you do it twice. Slowly you start getting acclimatized. Slowly you start enjoying it. I didn't know all these things a few years ago, right? So I went into it and I started making my notes. I started listening to good people, talented people, and I learned, right? Talking very general things is very easy for anyone. You can come and generally give life fundas. But how useful are they for someone unless you have experienced it yourself? That remains the eternal question. Anyway, so the second thing we will now see is deep learning foundation models and modern LA. And very quickly, then we'll go to the most beautiful part of the lecture, which is this wonderful stuff coming up. You will be surprised to see how many beautiful things are possible to be done with AI. So these are all books from my own library. So I did a proper photo shoot with them today to create this session. See, deep learning right at the top here, and it came in the AI taxonomy. You remember, it was inside machine learning, which was inside AI. So in deep learning, you have core foundations, major architectural families, training paradigms, modality based deep learning, application domain, system and infra layer, and ecosystems and trend. And then you have the foundation models. And then you have the modern LLM. This is how the hierarchy actually goes. So you should just know this is how it flows. Now, I showed you the top 7 things in deep learning. If you wanted to go deep into it, then this is how you will eventually study it. Not right now. If you're a beginner, you can simply leave it. But you will know that, okay, so deep learning has these 7 aspects. The first is core foundations, within which you will have this. The second is major architectural families. You will have this. The third is training paradigm, supervised learning, and we touched upon it in the first class of this masterclass for AI for everyone. You remember that? Supervised, unsupervised, self-supervised, semi-supervised, reinforcement, RL with human feedback, transfer learning and fine-tuning. All of them have experts now. Every single thread in this chart will have some expert in the world. They have dedicated their life to improving it. Modality based deep learning, application domains, system and infra layer, and ecosystems in trend. Got it? So, this is how you can one day get into it, find your own niche area, and actually build a career out of it. Nobody knows everything here. Absolutely, it's impossible. It's just like medical science, right? So you cannot be an entire medical science expert. It's not possible. Similarly, you cannot be an entire AI expert. It's just impossible. At the most, you can be generally good at most things, but not even all. So is everything clear so far? So shall we now move on to the most exciting part, resources and inspiration for beginners in AI? So when I was making this session, I was in a dilemma. What all should I cover? So then finally, after a lot of thought, I decided I must have all the books, important books. In fact, I have covered the most important books and many other are there. I understand. And you are going to share the names in the comments thread. So everyone will benefit. Thank you so much for doing that. I thought I must share the best blogs. I thought I must share the best YouTube channel. There might be some typing errors here or there for which I am responsible. So please forgive me for that. There will be some errors in the slides and all. Very sorry about that. You can suggest the corrections, right? We can learn together. I thought I must suggest ideas, the most powerful AI ideas now floating around in the world. Then I was absolutely certain I will suggest the papers. See, the field of AI goes forward one paper at a time. In fact, there's this beautiful joke in various technical domains. Like for archaeology, people say it's a joke, please remember, that the field of archaeology moves forward one funeral at a time. And what they mean by that, it's so funny. What they mean by that actually is unless an established doyen of the industry dies, new ideas cannot take birth. So archaeology moves one funeral at a time. It moves forward one funeral at a time. So there is some expert in archaeology. His ideas, her ideas are considered the gold standard, and new ideas often fail to come up. So unless he or she dies and is removed from the scene, new ideas will never come up. But in AI, fortunately, so far it's not that AI moves one funeral at a time. AI will often move one path breaking paper at a time. Like Vaswani's Attention is All You Need. It totally revolutionized machine learning, neural network. It totally brought OpenAI as a possible consumer product. Otherwise, there would have been no OpenAI, no ChatGPT at all, the way you and me know it. This is the power of technical papers. So I will be sharing some most path breaking papers with you. You can search the net, download them, just scan them. You don't have to know them. Maybe if you want in the future, I can start discussing papers also. Let me know in the comments. Let me know in the comment. And then heroes. Who are the top 10, 20, 30 big names in AI who have contributed a lot and who even today are contributing on a constant basis? We will see all the names. So I am sure you really, really are raring to go with this. Yes or no? So shall we begin? I'm starting with the books part. So this is all I have for you in the books. Many, many books I'm bringing. I never recommend books that I haven't studied myself. Although, as I've always said, I am struck by the confidence of people otherwise. The internet is full of people who recommend books and learnings from books they haven't even touched once. That's confidence. Salute, hats off. I don't have that kind of confidence. I only recommend books I have actually studied, or at least I have gone through to some extent, and I possess, otherwise, not. So please keep that in mind. First, let me show you some textbooks of AI. So, why should you know about textbooks? Well, you may actually decide to enter the field of AI, right? And if you decide to enter the field of AI, these are the topmost books. These are the Bibles of AI. AI, a Modern Approach by Stuart Russell and Peter Novick, Russell and Novick. Niels J. Nielsen, AI, a New Synthesis. Jurafsky and Martin, Speech and Language Processing. Sutton and Bartos, Reinforcement Learning. And from here, this is not a textbook. I will actually show you the physical book also because I'm really in love with the book. And these are adjacent books, not exactly textbooks. So we'll come to this. And then we'll come to Live 3.0 and Super Intelligence. So the absolute Bible of AI, as they call it, is Russell and Novick's Artificial Intelligence, a Modern Approach. They have done a wonderful job. They have covered the whole topic of AI. It's a properly technical book. It's a very fat, thick book. If you feel, if you are suffering from insomnia, you don't get enough sleep, turning a few pages can instantly make you fall asleep. So the book is extremely useful. AI, a Modern Approach. This is actually the AI textbook of the world. Every student studying AI technically studies this book. If you have missed it, maybe you should try to go through it once. It'll help. And reading the whole book through and through will take 1.5 to 2 years. It's that big. And maybe you don't need to do that completely. If you're in a college or you're doing a graduate or a postgraduate program, maybe some parts of it would be a part of your syllabus. You can do parts of it. But this is a reference, so it will be helpful all your life. And they keep updating it as well. So this is the big, big Bible of AI. A secondary and adjacent book, a wonderful book, is Nielsen's AI, a New Synthesis. This is easy. This is not as rigorous as Russell and Norwick, and it has a clear, accessible overview. So, this is the toned down version. This is my perspective. Now, there will be many AI professors and technology experts who will be watching this, and their opinion can completely differ from mine. So, in full agreement with you, sir, full respect for you, but I'll hold my view on this. I'm sharing what I felt, and you can absolutely hold a different view and write that in the comment. We'll all learn. Yes or no? So, this is Nielsen, and it is a good supplement to this book, provided you survive the first book. Otherwise, no chance at all. Then, this is a dedicated book for speech and language processing. It does nothing but speech and language processing. All our chatbots and the miraculous things we are doing, vibe coding. What is vibe coding? You type in your language and it gives you a computer code. So that is speech and language processing. Ultimately, how does it understand? So this is a very major part of AI. It's completely technical, tough, difficult. Maybe if you wish to get into this, this is going to be the first book you're going to read. So these three are the difficult things. Then this is the grandfather of difficulty, reinforcement learning and introduction. Reinforcement learning is a completely different paradigm. In reinforcement learning, you don't give a labeled data set. You don't give inputs and outputs and you ask it to find patterns. You actually design an agent. You put that agent in a three-dimensional world. In a lab setting, it will not be a 3D world exactly, but let's assume it is. That agent will be given a policy to act in one step like this. If the step actually becomes fruitful, it gets a reward, else it gets a penalty. So it moves from state to state to state to state to state to state as per a policy and a reward and penalty mechanism in an environment, and the agent has to achieve the goal. That's it. So amazing things have happened. When reinforcement learning agents have been put on a game, told nothing about the video game at all, so for several thousand iterations, they keep failing. Zero scores, zero scores. And then they crack the code. And then they start maxing out at the topmost level. So reinforcement learning is a very compute intensive process. It came into being recently because earlier compute really wasn't possible. Big data, compute, and all were just dreams. So 1980s and 90s were wasted because of that. But after 2010, I have already told you this beautiful era where we do AI on a handset. We are so happily doing AI on a handset. How did this magic come about? I have already shared the secret with you, right? Big data, which we can move effortlessly over the internet now, 4G, 5G, 6G networks. Big compute, huge data centers available to do any kind of computing, generate any kind of infographic or image for us, for example, or code for us. So you have big data, big compute, and the best of ML algorithms, and everything together bound by an internet, which is relatively cheap. This is what made the revolution possible, right? So if in an interview or in any examination you are asked face to face, this is the simplest explanation for that. So we started from reinforcement learning, RL. This was not possible earlier, right? Because these things were missing. So how could you do that? So if you're actually planning to get into RL or study, this is the book you must have at your desk. Without this, it's just not RL. I did the full course of RL from this university, which originally is Professor Sutton's university. It was a tough course. I took many months to do it, but it was a very fulfilling experience, and I realized how far technology has actually progressed. This beautiful book and this beautiful man, Santiago Ramon Cajal, he actually took neurons and made their diagrams. He actually did proper, you know what, took neurons out from the various parts of the body and went to work on the neurons. And beautiful diagrams of real neurons for the first time in the history of man. So that's it. This is an edited book, of course, but the original work is from Santiago Ramon Cajal. And this is the book. Maybe someday you will buy this. This is a beautiful book. If you check it, the guy actually drew all the diagrams and found the structure of the neurons. Today, we know these things as a fact, but this was never known. So, modern civilization and the fruits of technology that you and me take for granted and enjoy at the click of a button is actually owed in large part to people like Santiago Cajal who did all this. Imagine not knowing what the neurons were doing. Where would the motivation for creating neural networks come from? So, this guy did a micromillimeter by micromillimeter analysis of a real human brain, many of them, and drew the diagrams and actually brought it to light. Over the past 500 years, many geniuses like them who actually went deep into the human body to extricate its secrets, we owe our complete gratitude to them for making modern medicine possible. Imagine where would this civilization be without people like these. So, this is a wonderful book, one of the foundational contributions to the field of AI and ML, The Beautiful Brain. I'll show many books on brain as well to you. Some of you will develop a real interest in it. This author, Chip Huen, she is a wonderful author writing wonderful books for practitioners. So, these are books for practitioners. Now, there are many other books also I have, but for the sake of brevity, because otherwise session would be 4 or 5 hours long. So there is Andrei Barkov, who is a very good author. His 100-page ML book was a very nice book. I studied it, so I recommend it. So Chip Huen is one reference, but then there are many other good authors like these. Unfortunately, I cannot take all their names. So then you should help me. You should mention the names of good authors and good books in the comments. Let's make them popular. Let's spread the good word about good people. Yes or no? We should do that, right? Josh Tamer runs a beautiful YouTube channel making things interesting. And his book, The StatsQuest Illustrated Guide to ML and Neural Networks in AI, very interesting. and a very fun way of learning it. He has this illustrations and cartoons in a very engaging way. Josh explains how these things work. So I enjoyed it a lot. I studied his books and they were very helpful. Maybe you may want to try it out. Then there are other textbooks from Wiley and other 30-second data science books. I'm just showing them. Some of you may pick up some of them. I don't know which ones, but go ahead. Now we will switch gears. So these were all textbook kind of stuff, right? Boring, very boring. Now the real action begins. Yay, for the general non technical people, also for the CXOs and managers and CEOs and everyone. The real stuff begins now. Life 3.0 and Super Intelligence. Absolutely wonderful books. So, what is wonderful about these books? Well, what is wonderful about these books is they go right to the core of the issue. Where are we as a human society? And what is our direction? And as I said, Life 3.0, I shared some of the definitions, right? Life 1.0, Life 2.0, Life 3.0. You remember the definitions we just discussed? This book charts the future of humanity over several millennia in the future, where we might go. One doesn't know. There could be a massive solar flare tomorrow, which can simply burn all our electronics, and we could be back to the cave ages, the Stone Age. We don't know. But assuming that nothing very disruptive truly happens to the human society and civilization, maybe we'll continue for several millennia from here. Then what is likely to happen? These are the books which speculate. Remember, I choose my words very carefully. These are the books that speculate because we don't know what happens in the future. No one knows. And anyone who says with certainty about anything beyond 2 or 3 years, I mean, we know that the person doesn't know what he's or she is talking about. I would recommend you should buy these books, Life 3.0 and Super Intelligence. Life 3.0 is a relatively easier book to read. Super Intelligence is a deep book to read. So maybe you can read it over several months. Another suggestion for all of you, if you're getting into AI seriously, build your own mini library. Don't try to read everything overnight. It's not possible. I also make my reading schedule. Sometimes I have to push myself, but I open more than one book at a time. I keep 2 or 3 books running in parallel. It keeps the interest alive. When the work schedules are very tough, then maybe I miss out on reading the books, but my blogs and articles and the international publications that have to be compulsorily read, I do keep reading them because otherwise you're out of the flow. It doesn't work that way, right? Every day, at least 2 or 3 very beautiful articles come up. I've been doing it for almost 10 years now. And all the dots they connect, and you start seeing the big picture. In fact, my level of competence with reading articles has now reached a level where I can literally predict what he's going to say or she is going to write in the coming paragraph. Mostly it happens that way. For that, you need to spend in years doing this. And then it just happens. This is the beauty of this thing here, right? Do not try to read everything overnight or in just 2 or 3 days. These books require, these are not fictional books, right? These are not fictional books. Even Isaac Asimov's science fiction cannot be read overnight. And if you're reading them overnight, perhaps you're not even understanding what you're reading. So, what's the fun in that? So far, so good. Enjoying the session. I'm taking my time explaining things because if I can ignite that spark even in some of you, my job is done. You will carry this flame forward and you will spread this knowledge everywhere. That's all a mentor should actually ever focus on, right? Of course, in addition to asking for subscriptions to the newspapers and your visits to the inside site and your enrollments in the various courses on the academy, of course. This is actually one of the first books I ever read on AI. Melanie Michel very nicely explains AI from a layman's perspective. And the best authors are those who do not eulogize AI like fanboys. I have really developed a distaste for people who hype AI. Please don't do that. There is nothing to hype in AI. There is beauty. So when I say Santiago, Raman, Vakajal, I mean such beautiful people doing great, it's because of the scientific contribution 30, 40 years in the lab on the slide doing neurons. I mean, the guy deserves a standing applause, man. But that's not magic. That's real grunt work. People like him gave us our modern civilization. So, people who hype AI learn the secret of AI in 11.5 minutes. Dude. So, Melanie Michel, Guide for AI Thinking Humans, is a wonderful book, highly recommended. Now there is this beautiful short series for executives and really busy people who are busy with life changing things and the universe changing things. You always seek small, quick, digestible books, right? MIT Press, MIT of US, has the right solution for you. So they have a full series of books. So here you are perhaps able to see the books I have in my hand right now: machine learning, deep learning, data science, AGI. This AGI book was wonderful, wonderful. Neurolinguistics. These are five of the books which I recommend. Although there are close to 30 different titles they have, each one is worth reading. So if you're traveling, maybe a book like this, which has minimum of hardcore technicality, is something anybody can read. So if you are from the humanities background, this MIT series is highly recommended. Got it? Now, one more thing that I would like to take up here. How should you read? Should you just read and move on? That's not my style, at least. So, what I do is I underline things and make short notes in the book. Of course, you need to sit on a firm table surface. You need a firm surface to be able to do that, sitting in a bus or a train or during a flight. Usually, making notes is difficult, but still, I try to do that. Otherwise, I feel that my learning is slightly incomplete. I don't know how you do it. Please share in the notebook, share in the comments whether you actually make your notes and annotating the book slightly. At times, I even do it with my highlighters, various colors, and all. My wife really hates that. She says, "Why are you ruining those books?" And I always tell her, what are books for? They are to be read, right? They are to be digested. So this is not ruining them. And then she says, "You're not going to improve." So what to do, man? What to do? So this MIT Press is highly recommended. Check it out and go ahead and buy. Now, if you are a working professional and you are struggling with AI, a very good starting point is the Harvard Business Review series. They come out with these beautiful small booklets, easy to understand, lots of case studies in non technical language. And when I read them, I complete them in a breeze because they are totally non technical. I understand the technical side, so I can connect the dots instantly. That is the beauty of having learned the technicality of it. Otherwise, also, you can do it fast, but some of the flavor, some of the layers of meaning, they go missing. But then, if you're not from a technical background, these are wonderful books. I recommend them. You can pick them up from some library, or you can buy them, or you can ask your company to subscribe to these. Wonderful things. Wonderful things. Jaspreet Bindra has written a wonderful book and Anuj magazine with him, Winning with AI. The reason I recommend this book by Jaspreet is he has explained in the most practical of ways how you can leverage AI right now. As an executive, how you can deploy AI in your company right now. Because he has done it with companies. So he has brought real use cases. I hope you recall what I just said a few minutes ago. Google recently released a compilation of 1,000 use cases of generative AI. Real world companies doing generative AI fruitfully. So it is being done, my dear friend, and you should be doing it too, isn't it? The next 5 years are going to be quite transformational. Of that, there is no doubt. This book by Salman Khan of Khan Academy, if you look at the title, it's a very good play on Brave New World. If you know Aldous Huxley and Brave New World, that was the first book I was taught in my first semester at IIT Delhi. In the English course, they had these books: Darkness at Noon, Brave New World. And that is how I was introduced to this kind of reading. Very, very seriously interesting book. So Sal Khan has given a good play on it, Brave New Words. And what exactly is Sal Khan explaining? He is actually pondering on the impact of AI on the education industry. I do consulting for education industry professionals also, schools and colleges. They come to us, and most of them are very worried about the impact of AI and generative AI on the process of learning itself. In fact, today itself, when I am producing this session for our beautiful audience on my Billion Homes channel, please like and share, subscribe, spread the good word. Thank you so much. Today itself, The Economist magazine published detailed articles on the impact of AI on children and the process of learning itself. There's no hiding, there is no running away from it now. You have to tackle it head on. Schools, colleges, and universities that fail to see this happen will literally have the rug pulled from under their feet. So wake up, study about it, learn about it, bring the changes needed. Books like Brave New Words will help you. This is a very, very nice book where, in a simple, practical way, Sal Khan explains how AI will change education and why we may not necessarily be scared and spooked. We may actually be happy about it. Absolutely, perspective can differ, and you can criticize AI as much as you want. I don't own any copyright to AI, and I am not here to push AI. I'm here to share my knowledge, and I'm here to tell you what is good about it. So please go ahead. Artificial Unintelligence by Meredith, and You Look Like a Thing and I Love You by Janelle. These books actually tell us how machine learning converts to AI and why we should not be taking AI very seriously. So these are very, very intelligently written books that explain the limitations of AI. I highly recommend these books. When I read You Look Like a Thing and I Love You, I was laughing at many points in that book. She has explained it so well. When you start training a machine learning model, the kind of absolute nonsense it spouts is amazing because, well, it is still learning the pattern, right? So, an infant, a human infant, doesn't spout nonsense. You will be surprised if you actually do some research on the priors that human infants are born with. You will be absolutely shocked to know the miracle of evolution which affects human infants. Even if they sound talking nonsense, they are actually making a lot of sense even before they pick up natural language. I truly am amazed and mesmerized by that. You too will be if you read these books. These two are wonderful, slightly heavy books, but if you are one of those deep thinker kinds, Intelligent Automation is for corporates, Pascal Burnett. Now, something amazing has happened. Earlier, regular automation things which used to happen in companies, they were called intelligent automation. What does that become? IA. The moment this AI revolution came about, the sellers of these services are very smart people, smart operators. They just said we are AI companies. Actually, they were doing IA, intelligent automation. Proven things for the past 15, 20, 25 years, companies have been doing automation, intelligent automation. But the moment this AI revolution came about 3, 4, 5 years ago, everyone decided, why even talk about AI? Let's do AI. They are still doing the same thing, but they now brand it as AI and maybe they can charge more on that. So, Intelligent Automation is a beautiful book with actual real world case studies. Often I meet business owners who say, I'm running a very small business here. How can AI be of any use to me? For people like you, these are the books that you should perhaps consider. Anil Ananthaswamy is a science writer, a genius guy. Why Machines Learn is hell of a book. It actually tells you why do neural networks learn? I grappled with this question for a long time. That was several years ago. How are these neurons learning? And then slowly the light dawned upon me. It never happens on day one. And if anyone says that they have learned how neurons learn in one day, again, dude, perhaps you haven't. So take your time. Books like these can really help understand how machines actually learn. And then, a new story can begin from there because you have gone a level deep and you have understood it. This is one book you should buy right now. Yes, sir, I absolutely recommend it. AI Snake Oil. Narayanan and Kapoor, both US based, have actually taken a huge risk writing this book, because in an industry which is growing by leaps and bounds overnight, promising the moon to be brought down to earth, it is usually very risky to speak the truth that spoils the mood of the party. You can be called the party pooper. But this is a very humanity friendly thing to do. You actually tell who is lying in this room. Why making predictions with AI is a fundamentally fraught exercise. Why predicting stock prices with AI is actually not a good idea. So many practical examples they have. Basically, their premise is please treat AI as normal technology. Don't treat AI as a superhuman technology. It is not. I think I subscribe to that view. Go ahead and buy this. If nothing else, this book will help you understand where AI will fail. So, if you are about to invest or use some in AI, please wait. Buy this book, invest your money in this one copy of this book. Or if you're the chairman of the board of directors with 10 directors, buy 10 copies, make everyone read this book over 3, 4, 5 days, and then make your investments. I'm sure you're going to save a lot of. Ethan Malik, I am going to recommend his blog in a moment. Co-intelligence is his vision of how humans and AI will work together in the future. And Parmi Olson's supremacy is about the politics behind AI and why governments and militaries and defense establishments and entire political establishments are so keenly watching AI because this author feels that AI will fundamentally alter the power balance in the world. Now, that is something I will not entirely disagree with. There's a reason why the Middle Eastern countries have suddenly decided to pump in tens of billions of dollars into AI. They are all oil companies, right? Oil economies, sorry. But they are now going AI. Why exactly are they doing it? You will get a lot of these answers if you go through books like Supremacy. It's a good book. I recommend it. Well, some of you are thinking, hey, Sandy, you have been recommending every book. So are we supposed to buy every book? You know my answer, right? So the next one is Empire of AI by Karen Howe. She has actually done an absolutely contemporary and current study of how these top Silicon Valley firms are operating. And this book actually came a few months before the AI bubble apprehensions bubbled up. So she actually wrote the truth. And she has examined the personalities of the various executives running these companies. And the way she has explained how it works is amazing. So maybe you should do that. Go ahead, buy this book. Gary Marcus, Taming Silicon Valley is another beautiful book. Gary has been a truth sayer for many decades now. Gary has been contributing to AI for many decades now. Wonderful books he has written. I have taken this one book. I'll also share his blog. He was one of the first voices that said that LLMs won't take us to AGI. Remember this line? Some of you, please reproduce this line in the comment thread and write some views on it. LLMs won't take us to AGI because LLMs neither have a world model inbuilt, nor do they have a real time fact checking mechanism, nor are they trained to tell the truth. So they can't take us to AGI. And Gary was very brutally mocked by none other than the grand Mars man. But he was absolutely steadfast in his belief, and he has been proven true. LLMs are not the way to AGI. Now, experts agree. Everyone agrees. You see the point? So, reading people like Gary actually is an absolutely wonderful exercise. You should do that. The godmother of AI, Fai Fai Lee, I share her name in the first class. Dr. Fai Fai Lee is literally the person who actually brought computer vision to life. 22,000 categories, millions of images, hand coded by volunteers. That's Dr. Fai Fai Lee. The Worlds I See is an apt title. Buy the book, read it. It's a personal story how she actually made it happen and how no one actually believed it could be done. But then it happened, right? And then AlexNet, and the world was never the same again. AI Superpowers by Kai Fu Lee is about the evolving geopolitics of it. Now, many of us are very interested in how geopolitics is shaping up. Job disruption, economic transformation, human centered values. And in this book, the author has directly compared America, US, and China in terms of their approach to infrastructure, data centers, energy required for AI, the model releases, private versus open source. I could go on and on. Wonderfully captured how the two major superpowers are battling it out. Sadly, despite India being a technology capital of the world, outsourcing center of the world, despite it being a home of millions of technically very qualified people, big tech hubs also, so many GCCs, India really couldn't catch the AI bus. So we are more of a consumer nation of AI now rather than a creator nation of AI in terms of foundation models. Now we don't own the narrative at all. So India will evolve via its own domestic and specific India specific LLMs, SLMs. Our needs in terms of Indic language processing and audio based AI creation will be the primary drivers from here on. And work definitely is happening there. But if we talk in terms of global champs in AI, then the big companies of AI, the IT companies of India, and the big companies of India, they just couldn't do it. Perhaps they weren't even interested in doing it. So that talks volumes about so many things, in fact. If you're interested in learning about machines, this could be a good starting point, although robotics is such a vast field with giants like Rodney Brooks and others who have written so much on it. I've taken three books here which could be a good starting point for you to be a machine, The Machine Age, and Machines of Loving Grace. Some of it is slightly metaphysical also, but it's interesting. You might wish to start with this. Now we go into the domain of consciousness and brain. You have been waiting for it, right? So, human consciousness is the topic which really excites people. People want to talk about it, discuss it. Is it a physical phenomenon or a metaphysical phenomenon? What is it? I mean, there's so much of literature available. I cannot share all the books here. So, I will do the limited stuff here. The first book I'll share on consciousness is by John Searle, The Mystery of Consciousness. The reason I'm sharing this book, it's a small book, very cute, small book. You see, you and me can talk about consciousness and other things in a very rough way in our informal discussions and conversations. But people like John Searle have devoted their entire life studying consciousness. So they go really deep. Although this book is very small and easily manageable, it's highly recommended. This can be a good starting point. Some terms are difficult, so you can use some aid to learn it, LLM or Google search. But I recommend The Mystery of Consciousness as a starting point for understanding consciousness purely from an AI perspective. You know, benefit of this session, not just a benefit of this session, but a great takeaway from this session would be that no one can fool you. If you're a corporate executive or a business owner or even a student and a learner, if you have been taking my lesson seriously, then no one can actually fool you with absolute nonsense because you know how things work. I have alerted you to a lot of things. I am certain you are understanding, right? So, from consciousness, we come to brain. The book I recommend for brain, the first book you should be reading is A Brief History of Intelligence by Max Bennett. An absolute recommendation. Max goes back 650 million years and talks about how the first set of neurons evolved in some creature. The first precursor to the modern 85, 86 billion neuron strong adult human brain. And what were the five or six major leaps evolution took to reach here? Why? When you go through this book, you will get answers to questions like why parents and relatives should talk to infants a lot. A human child, first 2, 3, 4 years, the more you keep talking to them, the better is the brain development. And even if it sounds absolute gibberish, keep talking, keep interacting, keep teaching in a very light and enjoyable way, and better will be the brain development. And why? It is explained in a physical, anatomical sense. Absolutely eye opening. Explains all the parts of the brain. Now, you may wonder, I am not a brain surgeon. I'm not a neurosurgeon. I don't want to know anything about the brain. If you want to know about the future direction of AI, maybe you should take my advice seriously. Otherwise, you are the master of your destiny, as always. So, are humans the only ones intelligent on this planet? Far from it. If you actually study the octopus has an intelligence which is exceptionally high. Then how come the octopusi and the and the various members of that family not governing this world? Why are human beings ruling this world and not the octopus family? Well, unfortunately, the answer to that is the octopus is not a social animal. Unfortunate for them. The octopus have a very small lifespan, except a few which have 30, 40 years. Otherwise, 2, 3 years is the average lifespan. For a species that lives only 2 to 3 years and which is not social, the creation of a civilization is an absolute waste of energy. For humans who were social and who had a significant lifespan, 30 to 40 years on average, unless killed by predators, creating tools and civilization was a very meaningful evolution strategy. Not for the octopuses so far. Anyway, so I just thought I'll share that. Peter Godfrey Smith, Other Minds and Metazoa, absolutely eye opening. The many kinds of intelligences inhabiting planet Earth other than the human intelligence. Of course, humans made it. So, why did humans really make it? Very long topic, but long story short, we were social. We accidentally discovered fire, so there was safety. We accidentally discovered that fire could cook raw meat. So, meat which would take 8 to 16 hours for digestion now could be digested very fast because we could cook it on fire. So, that was a huge change. We have an opposable thumb with which we could actually hold tools and kill others. So, this opposable thumb thing. The year long reproductive cycle that we have, a good brain to body ratio that we have, reasonably erect posture giving us a good binocular vision. So many things came together. You remove one of them, and maybe a story would have been entirely different. It's a big topic. Someday we'll talk about it. If you want sessions on that, maybe in an AI context, I'll talk about it. And there are many, many more. But I just thought I will whet your appetite. I will excite you about these things. And then you will start building your own library. I am certain you have more books than perhaps even I have, some of you. Or maybe you have some books which I have not covered here. Go ahead, go ahead, go ahead. Share in the comment thread. I would love to know from you. So that was about books. Can we very quickly scan all of them once more? Yes, sir, we are going to do that. This is where I started. And I said, go ahead. textbooks. Then we switched gears and we got into the adjacent textbooks. Then we went to books that open up our eyes about life itself. Interesting ways to learn AI, the MIT series for those who are not technical people. Very interesting book. See, if I can hold five books in my hand, imagine how light they must be. By the way, I was in the weightlifting and powerlifting team at IIT Delhi, and that was way back in the youth. Although I'm young, hardly 28 years now, but then that was way back in the youth. And in the powerlifting team, my best numbers were 80 kgs of bench press, 120 kgs of squat, and 140 kgs of deadlift. Aha! So I can lift five books, but these are light ones. So please relax. Then we saw something for the managers. Then we have very good books on AI, practical books, the hype busters, then deep stuff. AI Snake Oil is the book. Perhaps if you have to buy a book first, this has to be the book. Co-intelligence and supremacy, understanding how the AI companies behave. Very good. Robotics, consciousness and brain, and many, many more. So, with that, we come to blogs. Are you enjoying the session? This session has taken a lot of effort to make because so many disparate knowledge elements had to be brought in one place. But then that's where the joy really is, isn't it? Absolutely, it is. We are now coming to blogs. Which are the top blogs to read, how to read them, how to make sense of them? I think I would recommend these 10. If any link is wrong, I'm sorry for that. You can suggest the right link so that others are not misled in any way. And if any picture is wrong here, again, my mistake, apologies for that in advance. Why should you be reading blogs? You know, these are geniuses who have given their all to AI and machine learning and AGI, ASI, coding, AI applications, philosophy of AI. And once a week or so, they write a proper review of their field or others' fields in the same domain. And once you read them, like Ethan Mollick, he writes about how to use AI. So there's a lot of wisdom in it. So the first blog that I would recommend you might want to follow, it's of course entirely up to you, is Ethan Mollick's One Useful Thing. It's a good blog, although some of you might find it lightly heavy, but if you persist, then he has a lot of wisdom to share. And I'm sharing all these names with you because I feel that you must know what are the best resources. And that's how you will grow, and that's how the good word will spread, and good people will come to the industry, which is the crying need for the day. Gary Marcus, Marcus on AI, very passionate writer who keeps on exposing the lies and the hype and who keeps on warning us what we should be very careful about. So I think that's a huge contribution. Then we have the absolute genius Andre Karpathy. Andre has a blog and he also writes a lot on Twitter. In fact, some of his best inputs come on Twitter and via podcasts. So he recently in fact, he has done many podcasts, but one of the recent podcasts with Dwarkesh Patel was a very good one. So maybe you should be watching that. Jan LeCun, one of the big names in AI from 1980s. He is active in social media, not too much on the blogs, but reading him is fruitful. Then we have Francois Chollet. He talks about deep learning fundamentals and intelligence. His posts on Twitter, X, are really deep in terms of the process of learning, in terms of the meaning of deep learning itself. So these are people, they know things which normal people like you and me don't. So learning from them is always a good idea. Emily Bender, AI ethics, linguistics, modern limitations, responsible language technology, very good blog. Benedict Evans, broad technology strategy with very sharp analysis of AI's economic and social impact. It is absolutely indisputable that AI will have a very deep social impact. It already has started to have. But let me remove one confusion right now. A lot of people say that the job market for freshers has been hit very badly because of AI. I disagree with that. I disagree with that because I think a bigger factor affecting the job market for freshers has been over hiring during the COVID period and the overcapacity built post COVID, which is now being retrenched. But it would be difficult for them to do so. So they have now used AI as an excuse to say that, well, AI and automation is leading to job losses. In some domains, in some specializations, in some verticals, yes. But as a broad brush thing, no. Because if that was true, then the impact of Gen AI projects in the company's productivity and profitability should have been visible by now. We wouldn't be reading report that 70 to 80% of generative AI projects are failing. So if you take these two together, I think that a lot of reason for retrenchment is because of overhiring earlier. Not to dilute the fact that the coming few years will require AI literacy from everyone. So please gear up for that. Chip Huen, I had shared her books also. This is her blog. Eliezer Yudkowsky, Less Wrong. AI alignment writings. AI alignment is a whole domain in itself. Many years of writing you can find there, and you will be surprised to see what a vibrant domain this is. And Guan.net, deep essays on AI, data experiment, prediction, markets, and intelligence. So you cannot read all the blogs, I'm absolutely certain, and I'm not even recommending that. What I am recommending actually is that develop a habit of reading good articles by experts. Maybe you'll read one blog a week, no problem. Then, once you get addicted to that kind of a knowledge, you already subscribe to them, the mails will keep coming. So, you will start reading two or three or four. I'll also give you one smart tip, a power tip, so to say. Never share any article or any blog post or any video unless you have read it. So, this habit to look and sound authoritative in social media by sharing articles that you haven't even read, it's a quick fix. It doesn't work. Read it and then give one paragraph of your interpretation of it and then share it. That would be a better strategy. So, for blogs, these were my recommendations. Now, I have gone through all these blogs and I found them useful. If there's a spelling mistake or some other factual error, I'm sorry for that. My apologies. You can please correct me in the comments thread. Thank you so much. So let's move on to channels. There are so many wonderful AI channels like Billion Hopes on the internet, YouTube channels. So I have tried to create a diversified collection. Although you may choose only one niche and go deep into it. And once again, if there are factual errors, please correct them in the comments. Please make sure that you have subscribed to our channel, that you have liked and shared this video, and you will become a member once we start the membership on this channel. Membership is about to be started. We are just working out the modalities. In a few days, our membership will be open. We'll be giving regular members only deep analysis of AI topics. And anyone who does it seriously will have a huge database of actually implementable ideas and facts to speak on. So, this membership section will also become very, very vibrant. Hope to have your support in that. Now we come to channels. So, when I started actually watching these, I made a note of the categories that these channels fell in. So, I found that first category was research, news, and high level analysis. The second category was deep learning, education, and math. For example, 3 Blue, 1 Brown is a wonderful, beautiful channel. No other channel comes close. The kind of visual explanation that the channel provides is unsurpassed because the people running it are very, very technically qualified. So they know how to do it. They know the technology also, and they know the technology to visually represent that technology also. That makes a huge difference. The third category was applied coding and engineering. So maybe some of you may just not be interested in it. The fourth, theory and academic discourse. I will not go any more because there are other categories also. But broadly, these are the top categories: research news and high level analysis. You have these channels here: deep learning, education, and math. Andre Karpathy, 3 Blue, 1 Brown, Astem Kirsanov. Applied coding and engineering. You have these, and these will be purely technical. So many of you may skip it. Theory and academic discourse. Some of this would be pretty deep. So many of you might want to skip it. My job is to bring the whole thing to you. Andre's picture is a real old one. Sorry about that, Andre. I'll put a new one. So this is how these channels work. Now, once again, this is a very rough snapshot of a very vibrant ecosystem. There are bigger and better channels also. And it's your job to point out in the comment thread. So please go ahead and do that. Now we come to my favorite part, ideas. Which are the top 7 ideas in AI today? So trust me, over the next 5 years, these are the 7 ideas you are going to encounter every single day. Anyone wanting to make a career in AI will have to know about these. So I'm priming you up for the 7 big things to happen in the next 5 years. All set, shall we begin? The very first big idea, my dear friends, is post scaling efficiency. And what exactly does it mean? Post scaling efficiency, it actually means so far we were able to just add more neurons and more layers and more compute to make our LLMs and foundation models more and more powerful. But the limits of scaling have now been achieved. We have seen that with ChatGPT because the 5.1 version was underwhelming. So this is what the experts speak is limits of scaling. So we have reached the limits of scaling. So if we have reached the limits of scaling, how do you make the systems more efficient now after scaling, post scaling? So this is going to be one big topic for the next 5 years. Some of you may find careers there. So this is the career advice as well. Shall we go to the second point? Reasoning models. So as we saw in the first class of this Masterclass playlist, AI for everyone, AI will transition from pattern matching to multi-step logical reasoning. If you remember, I have repeatedly said in all my sessions that AI cannot think, AI has no intelligence, AI definitely doesn't have human intelligence. But can AI reason? At least we can take it through various steps where chain of thought prompting actually was about that. And we can at least pretend that it is reasoning. Now, in the next 5 years, we want AI to transition from pattern matching, which it is right now, lots of data in, outputs out, and you want it to know what pattern actually created that particular thing. In the coming lectures, I will give you very simple examples illustrating these points. So just relax. Autonomous agents. So that is the second big idea in AI, reasoning models. Nobody knows when will we have a fully reasoning model. Nobody knows whether robots married with generative AI will actually do reasoning and operate well in a 3D world. Some of you who feel that driving and full autonomy in driving has been solved, it hasn't really been solved. You are doing it only for cities where you have enormous training data and a lot of simulated safe driving already happened. You can't suddenly take an FSD car and launch it in an absolutely new city, it would crash. So we need time for that. That's the point. Autonomous agents, you have AI agents which can do long horizon tasks and even teamwork. This is the long way away. It's not happening tomorrow. Robotics and LLM, this is exactly what I just said, general purpose robotics. Today, robots are narrowly intelligent. You don't have generally intelligent robots. Maybe you never will have them. I've spoken about the 4 E's of intelligence. You remember that? Embodied, embedded, Enactive, extended. Maybe robots will never have that. We don't know, only time will tell. AI for science. Now, this is a cracker of a use case. Are you aware of the fact that humanity has actually now stopped discovering new antibiotics? For a very long time, almost all the antibiotics that were known to man, that series hasn't grown too much because finding new ones is becoming very, very difficult now. The last one found was with the help of an AI. So I believe this is a stunning use of AI. So AI for science, breakthroughs in proteins. You have heard about AlphaFold. Materials, absolutely new materials being discovered. Mathematics, climate, drug discovery, the latest antibiotic discovered via proper pattern matching LLM, AI software. So that tells us that maybe AI will really benefit mankind beyond being a chatbot. So that is why my faith in AI is unshakable. Discoveries like these are the hidden engines which will keep AI whirring. AI safety and interpretability. You remember the black box problem? What was the black box problem? Can anyone explain in the comments? And then AGI architecture. Today, ChatGPT or GPT 5.1 is a monolithic LLM. We would want a modular, hybrid, multimodal system. Anyway, don't be too scared listening to these technical things. You have to make a beginning somewhere, right? And as the world moves 2026 to 2030 into a proper AI first situation, if you don't know these terms and cannot speak for a minute or two in a boardroom setting or a public speech situation on these things, it would not be an asset. So, well, build an asset. That's the whole idea. Make full use of all the videos I've created, learn and grow. These seven ideas will dominate the discourse. At least this is what we feel as on date. I do not know what tomorrow holds. Well, tomorrow we might have a giant meteorite strike. I don't know. The dinosaurs, the poor, poor, poor dinosaurs, had no idea 65 million years ago that a giant piece of stone was headed for Earth. Just 1 degree of inclination different, and it would have escaped, and there would have been no mentor Sandy, and there would have been no Billion Hopes, and no YouTube, and no Chat GPT. There would have been dinosaurs everywhere, and God knows how they would have evolved. Maybe a dinosaur sitting here and dinosaurs watching there, but definitely not Homo sapiens. So I do not know if there is a meteorite strike tomorrow morning. All bets are off. Then we don't know. But assuming we don't have a meteorite strike tomorrow, then these seven seem to be reasonable bets about the future. Is that clear? Enjoying? So if you're enjoying, give a nice like, a share, a subscribe, and please tell the world about this wonderful new channel. Your love and support will make us grow. Now we come to the papers. Before we come to the papers, please click the link given in the comment for subscription to free AI newsletter and go ahead and every week we send 2 free newsletters via email full of wisdom, everything in AI that a person would normally take a lot of time to find. We'll compile it, send it to you, use it, learn from it, rise and shine. Why should we know about the papers in AI? Because, as I said, the field of AI moves one paper at a time, just like archaeology moves one funeral at a time. That's truly funny. So, who writes these papers? Well, the researchers write these papers. How do they write these papers? They actually research and write these papers. What happens when they write these papers? Other researchers read those papers. What happens when other researchers read those papers? They do peer review. They either validate it or they invalidate it. What happens if they validate it? Well, science takes one step forward. That's it. So, this is why papers are important. Now, you might be thinking, if papers are so technical, why should the common public at all be interested in it? The answer to that is Papers may be technical, but there are absolute revolutions unleashed by papers, like attention is all you need. Had Vaswani and team not published that paper in 2016-17 at Google, there would have been no chat GPT, frankly speaking. Books have been written on that. So, if you want to know the best papers, the best would be a list of 100. I was, we can't do 100 here, so we are doing just 20. Maybe as a starter list, these 20 papers you might wish to download from the internet. Everything is available in a free PDF format. And just scan through it once or twice to see what exactly have these people done. So the names, I mean, go back to 1940s now. Amazing, right? We have gone back 70 years, 80 years in time. Warren McCulloch and Walter Pitts, sorry. So they gave the first mathematical model of a neuron. Thanks to Santiago Ramon Cajal, who actually did the neuron analysis, and books were published, hand drawn diagrams and all, that people started thinking about doing neurons. You see how it grows one step. So there's some genius who devotes his entire life, then other geniuses pick up. So we all stand on the shoulders of geniuses. Human civilization is that. We don't go in the reverse direction unless we actively, consciously choose to drive in the reverse direction when disaster awaits us. So, this McCulloch and Pitt's paper talked about creation of an artificial neuron. Now, today we have a chat GPT, millions of artificial neurons connected through hundreds of layers or thousands of layers. It all started here. Then Alan Turing, the father of modern computing, his paper titled Computing Machinery and Intelligence laid the entire philosophical foundation of AI itself, which was the Turing test. In my first class, I talked about the Turing test, and I also talked about the Chinese room experiment, John Searle, and all. So that was a good hint for you. Minsky and Edmonds, they talked about reinforcement. So the first ever hardware implementation of an ANN happened here. We didn't have semiconductors back then, remember, so these people were truly geniuses to even think of it. Newell and Simon, they actually gave the first program to prove mathematical theorems. This was symbolic AI's victory. So this was the good old-fashioned AI, symbolic AI, classical AI. It was proven, and this is where the classical AI picked up. And around 1985, it collapsed because expert systems started collapsing due to edge cases coming up. They couldn't handle it. John McCarthy, big name, programs with common sense. So that was the manifesto for symbolic AI. You'll find all these details in the infographic also. Then, Julia Pearl. This was the field of foundational concepts, right, and symbolic. Now we are going into machine learning and backprop and expert systems. Expert systems came from symbolic AI. So in a hospital, they would build an expert system, question answer, question answer, question answer, question answer, thousands. If this happens, do this. If this happens, do this. If this happens, but then things happened which were not captured by that. And the creators of expert system, Japan had invested a lot of money in that at that time, destined to be a failed technology. The creators of these systems finally realized that the real 3D world is beyond any human to list fully. Hence, neural network. That's a very striking thing to say. Julia Pearl, John Hopfield, Rummelford, Hinton, Jeffrey Hinton finally won a Nobel Prize recently. He is the big daddy of neural networks in terms of backpropagation. Richard Sutton, the godfather of reinforcement learning. So, what is this backpropagation? I will cover that in one of the future lectures, but let me very simply explain it. You give a lot of data to a neural network and you give the outputs also. You do labeled training. right? So that is supervised training. You do a labeled data set training. Now, how do you match the two? You have to adjust the knobs in between, right? And to do that, you have to find which neuron committed what mistakes. So you have to back propagate the error and minimize the error, gradient descent, and all methods. To do back propagation is very, very difficult because you have to adjust the errors working backwards from the output. The process to do back propagation is chain rule of calculus. So you apply that, it's called back propagation. On a small neural network of 10 or 15 neurons, you can manually do backprop. But if you have 10,000 neurons, you'll go stark raving mad. If you have a million neurons across 100 or 1,000 layers, you can't do it manually. So you needed a proper system, mechanical system, as in mechanically doable system to do backprop. And the first set of people who actually cracked it was here. And that is what made neural networks a possibility. But neural networks had to wait another 20 years because you did not have the internet back then. You did not have big data. You did not have better ML algorithms as such. So everything came together after 2015. But the seeds and the foundations were laid by these people. I hope that is clear. And Richard Sutton for reinforcement learning. Then through this phase, statistical machine learning, SVM, early deep learning, these were the big names, support vector machines and all. So these are all machine learning algorithms. Each one of them is a vertical in itself. Companies adopt various things. There are ML experts and AI experts. You can hire them. They are technically qualified people who will tell you what, but then you need an AI consultant to tell you which thing will fit in where and which thing should be avoided. AI snake oil, remember? Deep learning underwent an absolute resurrection, and this was the great turning point. 14. Alex Krzyzewski, Ilya Sutskever, and Jeffrey Hinton. So, what was the turning point? AlexNet. You remember Fai Lee? So, the ImageNet system she had made, they launched an annual competition that whoever brings a better neural network to study and make minimum errors in identifying the images will win. And there was a prize and all. And AlexNet ended up doing minimum percentage error in identifying images from the 22,000 category, million strong image. So that is when people were struck by the fact that computers can now see, which is a very crude way of saying that they can recognize patterns in a very mechanical, non sentient way. But AlexNet, the three geniuses, Alex Krzyzewski, Ilya Sutskever, and Jeffrey Hinton. Jeffrey Hinton of the backpropagation firm. Ilya Sutskever later on was the chief at OpenAI. Then he left OpenAI. Now he is running his own company, Safe Super Intelligence. He hasn't really told what product he's making. He has got hundreds of millions in financing, but he hasn't really told what he's making. No one knows. At least I don't. He also came on a podcast recently. Maybe you should watch that, Ilya Sutskever. And some other. Then came the big turning point when attention is all you need new paper actually brought in a whole new architecture for LLMs where contextual understanding became the norm. So suddenly we found that understanding of natural language went one step up and things completely changed. And finally, foundation models and scaling laws. So these are some of the top papers. They're completely technical. You should download and just scan it for a moment. And if you're a technical person, start building your own library. There are other very useful papers also, but I have avoided. I didn't want to overwhelm you. Well, Sandy, even this has overwhelmed us. Oh, come on now. This cannot. It's just basic, right? There has to be a start. As I said, the next 5 years are going to be transformational. So please, let's all gear up. Let's all gear up. Let's all gear up. We come to the last part, the heroes of AI. So many very brilliant people who contributed to AI. Many names you have already seen so far. The names will now come up here as well. So, who are these geniuses who contributed to AI in such a big way? Any major field of human endeavor is always a teamwork. But within those moments of teamwork, you always have geniuses who contribute in very substantial ways. So, the people who contributed in very substantial ways to this beautiful journey called AI are there. Once again, this is a restricted list. Actual names would be more than 50. We had founders and the early visionaries when the game actually started. Alan Turing, John McCarthy, Marvin Minsky, Herbert Simon, Alan Newell. Actually, we had the Dartmouth Conference 1956, and at that time, the pioneers who attended the Dartmouth Conference, they had the confidence that in a few months or a few years, intelligence will be solved. We are in 2026 to 30 phase. Intelligence had not been solved. We don't know how the human brain actually works. LLMs are a crude approximation of simulating human intelligence. They are not intelligent. So in 56, these pioneers actually had the confidence we will solve intelligence. We haven't been able to. It is very difficult. It took 650 million years for this brain to evolve. It won't yield its secrets in 65 years, right? It's going to take a lot of time. Maybe we won't ever know the secrets to intelligence. Maybe we will tomorrow morning. I just don't know. Maybe we'll have the meteor strike tomorrow morning. I don't know. So these were the big names initially. For neural networks, the big names are Jeffrey Hinton, Jan LeCun, Yoshua Bengio. Yoshua is a very good speaker and communicator. You will see him on many panels and thought leaders and all. And he's always cautioning against AI being used randomly and without guardrails because he says that we have never invented anything like intelligence and we are doing it now. So there are huge risks involved in it. And he's very articulate about it. So maybe you should listen to Joshua, David Rumelhart, Paul Verbose. Big names here. Then probabilistic AI and reinforcement learning, Julia Pearl, Richard Sutton, Andrew Barto, Stuart Russell. Then transformers and modern deep learning, which is what you and me are using right now. Ilya Sutskever, I have already shared with you, currently running his company, Safe Superintelligence. Alex Krzyzewski, you remember Alex Krzyzewski, Jeffrey Hinton and Ilya, they actually cracked ImageNet. Ashish Vaswani, the big daddy of transformer architecture, he literally gave us the modern version. Demis Hassabis, DeepMind, and now part of Google, and they are the folks behind all the recent major upgrades in Gemini and others. Dario Amodai from Anthropic. Some of my facts here might overlap because these companies have been doing so much of cross pollination. If you go through the various books I have suggested today, you will be surprised how much of ideas pollination has happened across company. So things do tend to get mixed up at times. Speech, language, and cognitive, Fai Lee, Jeff Hawking, Noam Chomsky. He is a very big name. And current thinkers, Gary Marcus, Timnit Gebru, Nick Bostrom. Critics and boundary pushers. So these are some of the big names you will see on the internet as thought leaders in panel discussions. So at least you should know the background of who these people are. Is that clear? Enjoyed the session. So today's session was all about orienting you to the possibilities of AI. I have given you so many channels to explore. It is entirely up to your taste, your career aspirations of what you wish to pick up from here on and learn more about. Please support us as much as you can. Spread the good word. Subscribe right now and make sure you subscribe to the newsletter immediately. Wonderful offerings from Billion Hope Academy. If you are an absolute beginner, we have like IM10 courses, AI like IM10, generative AI like IM10, and AI technicals like IM10. This is for any person of any age willing to learn AI from zero. Very beautifully structured courses which will help you in a big way If you're a corporate executive, AI Force Multiplier courses, and for CXOs, one to one mentoring, and for corporate transformation programs are available. Go ahead, check it out on the Academy. Link is given in the comment thread. This was our class 2 Big Picture of AI as part of AI for Everyone Masterclass playlist. I hope you have enjoyed. All suggestions are welcome, all criticisms are welcome, all support is definitely welcome. This is your mentor Sandy bringing you AI for real impact.